Hello, everybody. Welcome to Outlawed Thoughts. It's been a while since I've heard that intro music, and it still is great. I still love that music, even though it's corny as shit. But
It's great, dude.
it's
Nah, it
great.
sets the mood. It sets the vibe, bro.
That music I found on YouTube fucking forever ago, and it was the guy was a smaller creator, and I was like, I want to use this for my intro music. Please let me use this. And it was one of the few YouTubers who was like, yeah, you could use it. So I've been using that for years now. It's great.
That's rad. But you got permission. That's not an outlaw thing to do.
Fair enough. I just didn't want to get flagged on YouTube. I didn't feel like getting
It's
removed.
true, dude. YouTube punishes outlaws.
Fair enough. Yeah, YouTube's although I will say it is better now. I pointed out that we've done all these the new channel I've been doing with the Loser Cast has managed to not get anything hit. And we've said some pretty I mean I got Toad and Broseph and me on there, and we're saying some pretty out there shit. But it's
Toad did the ukulele cover of HH, right?
yes.
Baller.
I've known Toad for a while. He's great.
Nice.
He does a show with me, and then I think he's starting another show too, but I'm not positive about that. But yeah, he's been I had to get him on as a co-host for that show, because I've been wanting to do something with him like on the internet since Tower Gang, his old show broke up, and so I was like, I got to get him over to do something. So we started doing that.
Yeah, I think I'm vaguely familiar with like those guys through Nightwave, probably.
Yes, they've crossed over before, and then Top Lobster, who was one of the Tower Gang guys, he was on Dick's show and was a call-in for I think Biggest Problem at one point or something.
All right, okay, cool, okay. And I know Trent is. I think Trent's one of those guys, right? And I've been Twitter mutuals with In Tower Trent for a long time.
Yeah, I think he had done stuff with them. I'm not positive. There was other guys that were a part of the show that left along the years too, and I was there in the beginning of it, so I just kind of rode through the whole drama waves of all the BS happening. But yeah, so I want to intro you. You are young Clippa. I think I've been on 2 shows with you before, but I don't think I ever actually had you on here, or maybe you were on a panel. Because I was doing panel shows for a while. I had like 7 people on here at once and juggling wrangling cats. But
yeah.
But you have quite the history on the internet. I actually put a link to one of the tweets for me announcing this episode in one of the Tower Gang old chats, one of the group chats on Twitter. And one of the people responded like, who is this? Why do we recognize this person? Like, I'm like, oh yeah, this is one of the guys that was getting into it with Eric July's stuff and all that in the past, because they were watching my Twitter when I was talking about all of that stuff.
Well, in the picture you use in the thumbnail, I'm not wearing the sunglasses. One of the rare indoor photos of me where I was just wearing normal glasses because I was at a Christmas party.
Bit of a story behind why I had to use that photo too, which is funny. I went to your Twitter and I go and take the image. I didn't want to use an image of like you like doing the poses or anything. I wanted like just a regular photo because I wanted it to be in the corner shot like I do. Yeah. And then I go to Twitter and I'm like, your profile picture wouldn't, like, because the text was in the way, the only way that I could get it to work was to use Grok to remove the text. But every time Grok would remove the text, it would make your hat shaped weird. And so I just gave up. I was like frustrated. Sometimes I get wrapped up in the thumbnails. I'll literally sit there for like trying to think about like, how am I going to make this work? What am I going to put on a thumbnail? And like, I don't know. Sometimes I just throw my hands up at this point. Just figure out whatever the first thing that comes to my mind is at this point. But I wanted to kind of, I guess, do a bit of a catch up. There's so much stuff I've missed since I haven't been like regularly streaming, and covering as much of the drama stuff in the like Comicsgate space and sort of that side of Twitter. It's weird to call these things Comicsgate spaces, or it's really the
Well, there's just a lot of different spaces, right? You're walking into the world tree in Wizard 101, and you're picking different worlds from the spiral, bro.
dude. That's a great reference. But yes,
That's what's going on here. There's the Dabbleverse. That's one of the worlds. Comicsgate's a different world. Biggest problem in the universe verse. That's its own world. The Rippaverse is a world.
And I have walked literally in all those different lines because I've talked about all those different topics. So it is
when you've got worlds I don't have in my player save file or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I don't have Legion of Skanks, and you do. You've been in that world.
Yes, that's true. That is true. That's that was a wild experience. I haven't actually really talked about that on this channel, doing Skanks. I need to do like a video just talking about the experience and everything.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
It was insane. And then I need to do I'm gonna be going again this year, so I will be back in New Orleans. So anybody who's heading out there to go for that debauchery will see me there. But yeah, it's been that was a hell of a trip. It was fun. I can't wait to go back. And everybody's I got mentioned on the Matt and Shane Secret podcast again by Lemaire Lee on the last episode they did, because he's talking about what we did on stage and all that shit, which is
nice.
Was very funny. It's hilarious to be listening to a podcast I listen to, and just all of a sudden they're talking about something that involves me. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, eventually they'll be trying to ban you from the show for threatening to pour pig's blood in one of their cars. It happens all the time.
Damn it. So I guess kind of your backstory, you got arrested for really, in my opinion, trolling Eric July. You got cops called on you at one of the second, I think. So you went to his warehouse first. I talked about that. I made videos about that. People have seen those, obviously. And then you got arrested. I covered all of that. And then the next time I think I talked about anything involving drama in that kind of side of the internet was covering the Katie stuff. I made a video with Yellow Flash because I was pretty pissed at that point, to be frank, because I didn't like the way the discourse was happening and that whole thing. And so I made that video, and I felt like that kind of ended things to a certain degree, because it gave people something they could point to as like, nah, this is a breakdown of why this is retarded. Like, which was always sort of the goal with my videos. I tried to do that with the stuff when I covered CG. I was never making a video from a position. I would just tell you what had happened. Like, here's the Twitter exchange that spurred off all this drama. Here's the clips that pertain to it. And so I got good views on those videos. Because of that, I would get like 7-8K views on a video talking about like a random CG topic that, was pretty tiny in the scheme of the whole internet.
Well, so, telling the truth, it's a valuable service. It's underserved, that's a demographic, people who want you to tell the truth. And that's an underserved demographic.
And you've been, I saw you were wrapped up in all the drama with Biggest Problem in the Universe. Full disclosure, I'm one of the few people who actually am friendly with fairly friendly with
I just sent you a new picture of the warehouse as of an hour ago.
Great. God damn
This is a brand new picture of Eric's warehouse. This time it's a picture of behind the warehouse, behind the building. So we can show that at some point.
I'm gonna bring it up on my Twitter on my PC here. I had my phone open. I'm like, God damn it!
I don't know whose truck that is.
I clicked it on my phone and looked down and was like, God damn it! I knew immediately what it was. All right, here we go. Yeah, no. So I one of the things that I was talking about when everything kind of died down was like a biggest problem was going on with they were covering their July stuff, and then we're always talking about it and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like, it became more of like a Vito and that drama and everything took over. And so I feel like the Eric July stuff hasn't been talked about as much in recent time. Wow, this is a good shot
yeah,
too.
on the biggest problem, it's hard for them to make fun of Eric now because Vito is a retard pussy who fell for all the same bits and shticks.
It is. I feel pain talking about the Vito stuff because I'm like friendly with him and I do have him on Losercast and stuff. But I have also told Vito, like, this is dumb. Like, don't do this shit. Like, and it doesn't seem to ever work. So
well, he
I'm
can
like,
always
okay.
just stop being a pussy. Like, he can always just quit overreacting to shit, and he can go back to being funny and have a thick shell and release his book, and then make fun of Eric again.
That's
There's no,
it.
people are redeemable.
Dude, there are guys who are literally right now in the Epstein files, 13 pages deep, and they're still just business as usual.
Jay-Z.
Like,
bro,
if those guys can do that, you can, Vito. Come on.
Yeah, like Vito could just release Super Killer. Eric could just apologize to Dick and Ethan and I.
That's what's always been wild about the Eric thing. Eric July at any point in time could talk to Ethan Van Sciver, could talk to you, or talk to any of the people involved in that. Now he could say, I don't want to talk to Dick, I don't want to talk to Vito, I don't want to talk to you. But I mean, realistically, it would be very easy for him to pick up the phone, have a conversation with Ethan, and square things out to at least to the point where there's some kind of formality there. Instead, he's just trying to take this high road position that will just end in a spiral.
I think it's telling though that he won't make peace with any layer, any societal echelon. I'm the dirt hobo man screaming at him from outside. He won't make peace with me. He won't, kick me some respect that's sort of tokenary just to get me out of the parking lot. A little token of respect. But he also, Dick, who's like an outsider, like a customer base kind of representative, like someone who might have bought his books if they were good. He hates that guy too. And then the competitor in the building next to him selling comic books, which is Ethan, he hates that guy too.
Yeah.
So
it's weird because
if you're not appealing to any level of people, like only people who pre-order your stuff from the internet, like I don't know what you're doing.
Then what are you doing? Yeah, and a big part of it is like things. It's and I've always made this argument with the Eric July thing. I think it's the thing that so many of the content creators around this space who talked about it miss, which is the cultural thing of it. Eric July branded his whole thing as a cultural replacement for a lot of these quote unquote woke comic books, these things that are out there. Taking away the financial angle of it, he wanted to create a cultural movement, a pop culture movement. He has failed at that. The comic books, if you look at the total number of readers, those are going to slump off. They're going to drop. They have consistently. That to me shows that you haven't been able to build up a world that creates that sort of pop culture. The reason people will still talk about Teen Titans, even though there hasn't really been a good Teen Titans book in a long time, or they'll talk about Spider-Man or any of these, pick any hero from any famous comic book series. The reason those people are talked about was because those books over time became culturally relevant within the zeitgeist and grappled on. The books didn't have to be good at that point as long as the character existed and people were still felt the character needed to exist. It got talked about. Look at, you know what? It's literally the concept of American Gods. That's how I look at media. If you know Gaiman's book or the series, which is they butchered that fucking show, even though the actors is great in it.
No, yeah. If I remember correctly, they're more powerful the more that they're believed
more
in.
people believe in them, the bigger and more powerful the gods are. It's literally that concept. That is how pop culture actually works. If you don't like, it doesn't matter whether what you're putting out at any point in time is necessarily the best thing you've ever made. Once you're a fucking behemoth like Batman or Superman or one of these names, it doesn't fucking matter in the grand scheme of things. You could have a 50-year horrible run. People are still going to be talking about Superman. That is what you're trying to create when you're trying to create a sort of a comic book empire from scratch, which is really what he was trying to do. A great example also would be Ethan Van Sciver with Cyberfrog, or with with all really everything he's been involved in from an art perspective is something that's stuck within that pop culture zeitgeist of things, has been
He was
relevant.
hugely influential on the New 52 stuff, on a lot of
Yeah, I
Jeff's
mean,
work, just through proximity and through
I think I
conversations.
just saw on Twitter he was referenced in one of their Green Lantern anniversary things that they were releasing, if I'm not mistaken, or something they were releasing, which people were commenting on because
cool. I know Green
DC
Lantern
never.
Rebirth is getting like a republishing, so that'll be big as one of those DC compacts.
Yeah, yeah. I've been so far outside of the comic book stuff for so long because I just hate writing these days. Like, and it's not just in comic books, but in like modern shows and everything. I just don't like dialogue. Like, I think the last, like, I watched a little bit. I watched that new show Landman. I just finished Fallout. Like, I'm watching a few shows here and there because I kind of
Okay.
have to. Landman was actually is okay. I don't
I'll say
mind that show.
I'm a big
It's a,
fan of Taylor Sheridan,
yes,
especially the
it's
dialogue.
and I think what he does good is dialogue writing, and so I find that stuff.
I lost you. I can't hear you. I don't know if it's on my side or yours. Taylor Sheridan did this to us. It's Taylor Sheridan's fault that I can't hear you. The Landman's dialogue is pristine. I prefer it to most of his other shows. I'm not a big Tulsa King guy. The prison one didn't hook me immediately. The Mayor of Kingstown, but I do enjoy the Texas-based shows he's doing. Obviously, the next Yellowstone spinoff, the 4-6 Ranch show, or maybe it's not a spinoff. Maybe it's just another Taylor Sheridan show. But obviously, I'm very excited for that. That's going to have Bonanza vibes. It's going to be like the Brothers on the Ponderosa, but instead it's going to be cowboy characters on Taylor Sheridan's ranch. He actually bought the ranch, huge cattle ranch, the 4-6 Ranch in Texas. It was once the biggest cattle ranch in the United States, and now it's going to be a TV set. So I guess Leighton had to reset his entire show.
I am very frustrated with what just happened because that entire shit show was caused by, in the other room, my earbuds are sitting on the table. They were knocked off the table. The earbud container popped open. The earbuds came out of the container
and then turned on
to my PC,
yeah,
which linked all my audio through to the earbuds, which then booted everything on my end.
I'm sure there's some way this is Jewish people's fault. It's okay. I gave a little audience information out. Okay, I told everybody about the 4-6 Ranch in Texas. Taylor Sheridan's next show is going to be on a big cattle ranch. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's cool.
One of them. One of the next shows. That guy's got a lot going on.
Yeah, he's making a lot, but he's fairly young for what he's doing, so he's got some time to
I like that he started late, though. He started like in his late 30s after being in Sons of Anarchy and being like a horse trainer and stuff. Now he's just been on one hell of a 10-year run. I mean, it's been less than 10 years since Yellowstone. So
yeah, and that show, I mean, literally changed the property market in fucking Montana. So, you know.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Montana was someplace I looked at one point. It's like, oh my God, it's so expensive. Why is that? Start Googling and you find out, oh, it's literally a bunch of people from California and like Colorado and Vegas all moving to Montana and buying up all the big property. And so it jacked the prices up.
But you were talking about how you don't watch or read much these days because of the writing.
Modern stuff, I'm not a big fan of the writing.
Yeah,
so
fair.
I tend to stick to like a little bit older media and stuff. Like my favorite comic books were all from the 70s and 80s and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I just nowadays I'm like, yeah, I watch a few things. I watched that Fallout show. I just finished the finale of that. That was good.
You think it's good, huh? I might have to check that out. I don't want to watch anything too like Quirk Chungus-y. And the opening of season 2 of Fallout was like very Quirk Chungus.
Yeah, it has some weird shit in the first few episodes that definitely seems like they're trying to retain the audience from the first season, so they're just trying to give you like those member berries, shit like that. But past that, it's good. I like the way they've built up the world, how they kind of segregated into these different areas now. So when they want to go back to an area, they can cut to a different character now, and this character's hanging out in this area, and cut to this person.
Sure. Yeah.
That's more almost closer to how the video game would be if you made it into a show, and I feel like that's going to be the vibe they go for in the next season. They've already been greenlit for season 3. They'll make as many of these seasons as people will watch because I've said this for a while, but The Witcher was the first real like show around a video game that I feel like actually got popular, like where people were definitely subscribing to Netflix just to watch The Witcher as it was happening.
Sure.
But I think this Fallout series, especially with you see the way that the games are rebranding themselves and stuff like that, adding the characters in, is going to spell out the future, I think, for a lot of the way video games play out. Because I think if you're Hollywood, you're going, we want to make as much money as possible. And if you're these subscription services, you're going, we need new people. That's their real business model at this point for these subscription services, is finding people who aren't using theirs to subscribe. And one of those untapped markets is a lot of the video game type people, you know, gamers, people who are sitting on their computers. So to get those people over, or console gamers, whatever, you know, but in order to get people pulled over to their side of things and to pay for their media, for their subscription service, to Paramount or Amazon or any of these things, one of the ways I feel like they're going to do it is by tying those things together. Like, remember back in the day of Mountain Dew, like you would go get Mountain Dews to get COD points, or you'd buy like Domino Pizza to get COD points.
No, but that would explain why they're so like connected in the cultural zeitgeist. Mountain Dew and Call of Duty.
Exactly. So
there was a strong.
Doritos did the same thing. Doritos then sponsored MLG and was like the face of Major League Gaming. Like that was like they did it on very much on purpose. I think the Hollywood's going to do the exact same thing. They're going to go, well, gaming represents this giant untapped market. The Witcher, some of these gaming related shows like Fallout, all these things have been popular. Last of Us, same thing. So they can basically tie in new shows they're releasing or films they're going to be releasing into game related content. And it doesn't even have to tie into the game. Fallout's an example of that. This show isn't directly tied in necessarily. So the way they've done that is like in Fallout 76, certain characters from the show are now just in the video game. They just added them. And it's like, well, okay, see, that ties these two worlds in. And now the gamers are going to be watching the show to find out more about these characters, and the people playing the game or people watching the shows are more likely to play. Yeah. So I think it's going to become a symbiotic sort of relationship between Hollywood and your sort of game producers, like, you know, your EAs and your Microsoft space.
That might not be a bad idea.
Oh no, I think the media,
some of their best media is the games, like the Jedi Last Survivor or whatever.
That's a perfect example. Yeah, because the story for that game is great. It's actually like fun. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And then they had like well, you know, a funnier like thing is like you've got right now the a great example would be I'm thinking of it, but like the Arc series or any of those that you could absolutely make a movie based on, and it again, it doesn't have to be based off an individual story. It can be just based in that world. You know,
Yeah.
almost in the vein of like Wendigoon made that Stalker short movie a while ago that he raised money for, and I didn't really care for it all that much, but that in symbolism is what I'm talking about. Like, hey,
Sure.
okay, we're gonna make a hour and a half long movie based in the world of Assassin's Creed. That was done already, and I think it was even popular. But if you have a bigger budget behind it, where you've
Isn't
got
Markiplier's Iron Lung an example of this that's happening right now?
actually, we can talk about that a bit. That's been a crazy story. That movie has done I think it's made I think somewhere like 25 million in total right now in profit. Like that's on top of its budget. For a movie that was made the way that it was made, that's pretty much pure
Which
profit.
I don't know anything about the production of it. If you could elaborate on that a little bit, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, so my understanding is he hired out somebody else and actually like brought in a producer and stuff like that. But the general story and stuff I think he wrote. The Halo show was awful. Absolutely, yes, the Halo show was awful.
I didn't even bother to watch that one.
I have I'll bring up a news article for it so I have something to reference while I'm talking about it. Iron Lung right here. Oh, it has a Wikipedia already. Look at this. Fancy, fancy.
I saw a tweet about the movie, and then I saw Iron Lung on Steam the other day. So
yes.
I put together that they're connected in some way.
It's a 2026 science fiction horror film written and directed by Markiplier. In his feature directorial debut, it is based on the 2022 video game by David Szymanski. Szymanski? I don't know. That's a fucking weird Russian Eastern European name. So I ain't pronouncing that shit right. Pay me. The film stars Markiplier, Carolyn Ross Kaplan, Rose Kaplan, Troy Baker, Elsie Lovelock. Not really known actors or actresses, but that's kind of the point. I want to point out that like the reason I think this is important is because it proves a point about how a cheap film can make a lot of money. This is almost like the old horror movie genre. How that became popular was the same way, because you could make a movie for, 15-20 grand that might bring in $500,000, $1 million. Well, those margins are pretty good.
And it's a fandom that's inspired to dress up in the costumes and play around as the characters. Now you just replace that with grabbing their controller.
Exactly. Yes. And so I think it's very likely that this will lead to more stuff getting made.
Earthbound movie.
Like this. Yeah. And it began in 2023. My understanding is one of the things that was interesting during this whole thing was that Disney has a movie that's competing out with him that's sort of in the same genre, that kind of liminal horror, kind of weird horror space stuff. And so it caused a bit of a weird thing to happen where he used that opportunity to drum up more people to go out and watch the film and talk about the movie. And a lot of the media YouTubers, pop culture YouTubers talked about it because they didn't have anything else to cover. And so this kind of gave them something to kind of drum up some controversy around. So it really kind of played to his favor. And he's killing it. And I think it's going to prove to be really good for other YouTubers, because a result of this is going to be, you're going to see a lot more of this kind of media made because of it. And he said he doesn't care how much money it made, because he was going to do stuff anyway.
Yeah,
but,
sure. He's already a millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is make something good, though. You see what happens when you do is it just gets more popular with word of mouth, not less popular.
Yep. So. And that's I think the proofs of the pudding for people like Eric July, because of stuff exactly like that. Because you see I don't know. I don't see more people talking about Eric July today than they were 2 years ago. I see a lot less, and I see him trying a lot harder to get more people to talk about it.
Do you see he's going to release 100 books this year? He's the reverse is going digital, and he wants to release 100 of other people's books.
Yeah, so he's going to go around and farm people.
Yeah, he'll be the OnlyFans of comic books, where he gets 20% of the money that you make on your comic book campaigns.
Oh, God. I suppose that's some of the recent drama. I suppose we could talk about that. You mentioned OnlyFans. That makes me think of this whole shit charade. I haven't even.
Whatever could you mean?
I haven't even. This is the fucked up part. Like, I am the type of person where I will absolutely, like, Tony wants to come on and talk. He can come on and talk. But again, I'm an outside observer, so I kind of talk about these things as an outside observer. And so I'm looking at all this shit come out, and I'm looking at all these screenshots, and then I'm seeing clips of Tony on his show try to, like, either strike out at other people to basically look over here, not over there, or just, like, going with it, but then, like, trying to justify things. It's like, man, you gotta just stop doing that. Don't do, like, that's never worked out for anybody who's taken that course of action, like, on the internet, or in life, in general. And I mean, I will say this. We're talking about, I guess you give your side of things. What happened? Illuminate the audience that might not know, like they were 6-year-olds.
Okay, so we're talking about a YouTuber that used to cover Eric July named Frog Tony. He lives in a little bog on a lily pad that's rotting away below him. And most of his environment is mud and, like, people who crawl around in the mud with him. Okay, just to paint the picture for your audience, Leighton. He's had an embarrassing downfall as of recently because he went on his favorite podcast, The Biggest Problem in the Universe, but he forgot a couple of his teeth at home. And so he was hiding behind, he was sitting in the studio like this, sideways, and, like, talking to Dick and Vito like this, trying to not let anybody see his teeth were missing, which is totally hilarious and insane. And so he started getting made fun of by this group of people named the CG Church, led by a guy named Cynic and a guy named Dark Gift in the Comics Gate, slums or whatever. Anyway, these guys start picking on Frog Tony because he was bad on his favorite show. And turns out Frog Tony's bullying his co-host, Wizard, for simping over a girl that Tony himself was simping for. And as the simp,
Dalish, right?
Yeah, Dalish. As the simp arc progresses, everyone starts to find out about Dalish, and they want her side of the story. Well, she's quiet about a bunch of this stuff, about the levels he goes to bother her, and about an incident in LA where he had grabbed her ass at a party on everyone's way out at the end of the night. And she had kept it quiet. Frog Tony, back in December, tells on himself on a live stream, and it begins what has been one of the funniest months-long straight info dumps I've ever seen.
Right, so my understanding
DMs
was,
and texts.
Right, so it was that stream, him talking about that ass-slapping event and that whole thing on his show that spurred the messages getting released and all that stuff getting dropped.
Yeah, because then people started making fun of him for it. He said, it's not true. Prove it. So she did. And then he keeps saying, well, this isn't true. Actually, there's more. Show those. And so she does. And then he's like, well, show everything. And so she is. And she has sent Cynic all of it.
Steady trickle of messages being published. And
this weekend's almost as bad as the original ones, which were like the worst ones, because there's more nuance in the ones coming out this weekend. Like, I saw one earlier on Cynic's show tonight about how he had a boner on the bus. I'm like, oh my god, dude, there's five things wrong with this.
This gets into my position on things, because I guarantee you some people aren't going to like my position. Some people are. It just is what it is. I think this is gross, and Tony shouldn't have done this shit, and he should be like absolutely be getting all the shit that he's getting for this. I don't think there's any saving somebody from that. I don't necessarily not draw any blame towards Dalish in this whole situation, and there's a lot of people on the internet who are like, well, yeah, but here's the thing, like I've known a lot of like strippers, for instance. I've been friends with them, not like relationship friends, but just buddies with them.
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
like, hey, I know this person. Actually, I was friends with a male stripper once. I wasn't friends with him when he was a male stripper, but I was friends with him when he was a bartender, and then he became a male stripper, and I'm still buddies with him. So I got that one under my belt too. So I'm more familiar with those kind of worlds and stuff like that. But like, at least in the stripper world, it's just an accepted thing that if you're kind of like getting these guys into the strip club, they're coming in every few days and they're paying you and stuff. Those guys are going to get a little creepy and handsy sometimes. And that is how it is. And you got to like deal with that as a stripper. That's what the bar patrons are there for. And what, you know, that's how the whole system's built around it.
Yeah.
When I look at like the OnlyFans thing, I'm like, I get Dalish, and I've heard her. I think I heard her on a stream say this or whatever, talking about how, like, you know, trying to like placate and like you're doing a show with this person and all that makes this whole thing difficult. But if I was in her boots, the way that I think you have to deal with this situation is you have to cut off contact with this person. You stop taking money from the person, and you have to stop doing the show with the person. That should have been done immediately. Like, if you weren't going to fuck this guy and he's paying you and messaging you this shit, and this is going to kind of keep going, I'm like, it gets into a weird, and then I know it's the OnlyFans way of doing things, and it's like that thing, and that's what he wanted. So he got exactly what he wanted out of this scenario, but he is one of these types of guys that thought he was going to get more out of it. But I think reading all these messages coming out, and I'm reading all this shit, I'm going, I think I would have known that this guy is one of those dudes that thinks he's going to get more out of this. And so I would have cut contact with him.
Right.
I don't think I would have continued it as long as I'm seeing these messages go on. I'm like, God damn it. Why respond to it? Just let him wallow in it.
Well, it's much funnier that she did, first off. But second of all, I think you hit it the nail on the head about the comparison to the strip clubs having this sort of environment where you have enough of these guys and these other girls around, and like maybe the bar patrons and the bar managers and whatever at these titty bars or whatnot, that they're all culturally like aware of this stuff too, and they can maybe teach someone who's not yet.
Right.
And I think with OnlyFans, you remove all of that, right? All the environmental learning. There's nobody there to help you with it. There's nobody to point out, like, you know, Far Tony's being extra weird. That's, you know, most people don't talk to girls like that because they only know the guys they're talking to, and so that's going to set like a standard.
Why so many OnlyFans chick use managers? You know,
I'm sure, like, if you get enough of these guys talking to you, that you're willing to pay any dollar to have a Pakistani or an Indian dude answer instead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to give you an idea, I'm friends with one. I only know one that I'm like friends well enough to have seen like how much money she's making, stuff like that.
Sure.
She pays a guy like, we're talking like $1,800 a month just to handle like,
that's wild,
communications.
Yeah.
She's putting in, I mean, like 62,000 or something like that when I knew her a month on OnlyFans, which is retarded amounts of money.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's right. It's retarded amounts of money. Frog Tony's probably giving this girl, you know, over the course of however long, like they're talking a year or whatever, like he's giving her like $2,000, $3,000, some, you know. Who knows? She hasn't calculated it at all. My whole
position on the OnlyFans thing has only been not to. I don't have any issue with the women doing it, and I've always had that position because for all of eternity, women have been using the porn industry to gain money and make money, and that's just how it is, and that you're never going to change it. The people I look down on in the OnlyFans situation is the guys,
the dudes who fall in love with OnlyFans girls.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. the fall in love thing is separate. It's if you're not involved with this person and you're just a person on a screen simping for an individual, sending them money.
No, that's like a worse position to be in, to fall in love with one of them. Yeah.
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if your only connection to an individual is through a fucking computer screen and you are paying that person to get that connection, I think you are the biggest male simp, feminine individual that you can be. I don't think I think that it is and it's not a religious position. It's not a moral.
Sure.
No, it's just like, I don't like go to a fucking bar, go talk to a woman.
A lot of the ways he'd pay her, bro, were like to obfuscate that he's simping through OnlyFans. He'd pay her like, here's some pizza, here's some super chats, just to try to make it not be on that platform, because he knew to feel shame about it.
Yeah, I know. And then it's just like, I don't know, like the whole thing. I look at, and it's not just like him, but it's all these. Anytime I see OnlyFans chicks talking about like the people who are paying the money, and the Whatever podcast is a treasure trove of these, where you find like, I hate that show, by the way, but it is funny to see the clips that go viral.
Yeah.
Chicks that go on there, because it's like, oh yeah, this girl makes like $50,000 a month, and she's talking about how she has like 2 people managing all her messages and all this stuff. And it's like, to me, it is like at some point you create this churn of like feminized cuck men who are just paying out all of their money that they make at their dead-end job, who then never go out to bars, never go out and meet actual women, so they just keep going back to the same trough. And like, yeah, that's a fucking death spiral cycle, man. So like,
well, they're being like fin-domed, bro. Tony thought he had it good because he had someone who would actually talk to him off hours.
Truthfully, most of these guys who are on these OnlyFans platforms paying these people, if they went to an actual dominatrix or had an actual dominant hooker or prostitute, they'd have a much better time, and they probably wouldn't go back to the trough nearly as often.
Better use of their money, I bet.
Yeah, legitimately better use of their money.
I think what got Tony here, what tricked him, right, is that he found someone who wanted to make internet content around the circles he's around, as well as has an OnlyFans, right? So he in his head was like, okay, I'm gonna help her in this way or work with her in this way, and that's gonna endear her to me. When really it's like just more of a red flag. Like it should have been more of a professional relationship ultimately.
I also have a personal thing with like, don't start shows with women. Just don't do it. It's not a good idea.
Probably good advice. Yeah.
It's the best advice you're ever going to get on this whole platform. I promise. I've done this twice before. I'm not dealing with it. It never works out. People get married. They go off in other directions. They do other things. You're never going to have, like, again, I also don't start shows with guys who have a bunch of personal shit going on in their life. You know, like, it's not a good idea, because then you just end up with like, you can't schedule shit. You can't get stuff done. Like, you know, everybody's off, you know, arguing or fighting or stressed out. Like, it's just bad environments. I just
that's Vito's biggest benefit, is that he has nothing going on, so he's always there for the show.
By the way, literally, yes.
Yeah, no, actually.
Yes, Vito has the benefit of the same thing that I have. This is why I tell people I'm great to have as a guest on shows. And I go on all these different random genres of shows around the internet, because I have all this. I have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things. That's the way that I tell people. The reason I have that is because, and I'm in all these different groups on the internet and can pay attention to it all, is because I work nights. So most people are up and like active on the internet like 4 or 5 hours a day. I can listen to 14 hours of podcasting a day, 14 hours of content in the background a day. And 8 of that is while I'm doing paperwork. So it's just, I have a lot of time to absorb this shit. So like the Dabbleverse stuff, all that stuff, I become pretty versed at it just because I listen to everybody talk about it so much. And then I have more time to research things on my own. When I was reading through these DMs and stuff, and I'm not a big fan of DMs coming out, but I understand why they did, because none of these DMs would have come out and surfaced. And again, that was the way you mentioned it, was the way I understand it. None of this shit would have come out if not for the fact that
Dude, she was trying to just move on, and he got drunk one night, and he felt the calling of the telltale heart, and he spilled how he didn't touch her with his hands, though it was a pizza box. Like, and he just didn't have to bring the story back up and start to relitigate it at all. You know, she never pushed for it to be a public topic.
Even if it had been a pizza box, you still just consciously admitted to doing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's super guilty of it. He even uses as part of his defense an earlier incident in the night when he had picked her up above his head, and he's conscious that he'd snuck a grab there too, because he'll say it that way too. Be like, well, I grabbed her ass when I did that, and it's like, okay, so you were cognizing it too.
Have you ever picked up a cheerleader before? That's not how you do it.
Yeah.
Come on, you put. you grab it like a bowling ball, motherfucker. You're gonna grab
like our president, like our great president, God Emperor Donald Trump.
Legitimately, yes, literally what Trump said.
That's the thing. Like he, I felt like he was looking for a chance to grab her ass. Skirting around it, being predatory, being a wolf-like little frog.
That comes into where I'm talking about. And I wish Dalish, and obviously, eventually I'd love to have this conversation with her at some point because it'd be interesting. I'd like to actually talk to Tony at some point about any of this.
I would love to see either of those or both of those interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's something I'm planning on doing is I'll reach out to him. I mean, me and him are still followers. I'm still a fucking member of his YouTube thing. I still get notification for his member streams.
Nice.
I just don't, because all this drama played out, and I just haven't gotten on YouTube long enough to really react to it all. And then, as everything was happening, I saw the biggest problem in the universe reading the fucking. That was an hour of hilarity. I mean, Vito and Dick going through those messages. I mean, God, it was brutal. But I'm like, God damn it, man! It was one of the funniest hours I've had in a while. I couldn't.
Yeah, man. I love Frog Tony's contribution to the biggest problem lore.
It is wild that's the contribution. Fuck, man. Yeah, that's a black spot. Yeah, I just I watched the whole thing play out and was like, Jesus, and then I just, I'm not one to go and react individually. So I kind of have to have a longer kind of like way of reacting to things like that. So doing a stream or video is better. And I was like, I'm not going to make a fucking video about these messages and just make an individual YouTube video because it just doesn't make sense for what I normally make. And so,
well, be sure you're following Johnny Rocket's Substacks. You can read those articles. We would love to see you. The whole community, every community on the Spiral would love more Leighton Radner content, bro. You got to make more videos. You got to read these, pull it up the quartering style, read it through the screenshots, give your opinion, and close them out, bro. And do it for these Johnny articles because he'll keep you abreast of the news, bro. He's working hard.
I should start doing that because I have seen those articles and it does make things easy to make into a video because I can.
We need your voice. We need your expertise. We need your little pockets of knowledge. So
the one thing that I could always was always good at doing with those shorter videos I was doing was editing because a lot of the people that make these videos just cut up the live streams and it's like that's great, but I want to actually like edit it. I want it nice. I'm very much like a perfectionist when I edit. I have to have everything right. I even have a couple old videos on this channel I'm not happy with. I'm like,
I know that feel, dude. I hope you get the vibe from my content that I'm sort of editor or producitorial minded.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, even just like you doing what you're doing with the camera and stuff like that and stuff. It's like hella unique stuff like that. You don't see people doing anymore on YouTube.
It's got to be a show, man. You gotta bring something to it. So.
No, I like it. It's the same reason why I still do like when I'm going on events and stuff like that. I'll dress up and do stupid shit like that because I'm like, it's just fun. I don't know. It's like the old Eddie show. The Outlawed Thoughts never had like. I mean, I always talked about politics and stuff a bit, but this show never had the like has to be about one thing vibe. It was always sort of supposed to be sort of a variety show, and then I would do other stuff as the more specific content. So I like the way that it get to be a little chaotic,
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm excited to go back out to Skankfest and do that all over again, especially now that I have the experience of doing it once. I'm going out a little longer this next time so that I can do like the World War II Museum is there in New Orleans and some other cool shit I want to go check out. There's some cool old buildings and stuff. But yeah, I guess we can kind of close out there. I normally do like an hour and a half on these anyway. So, I mean, I don't know.
Sure.
If there's anything else you want to talk about or any other topics, we kind of covered as far as the
Eric July pretty quick, I mean, I don't know how much Eric July recap we have to do, but I got you a new picture of the Eric July warehouse from today.
Yeah, that's killer, and I'll clip that out too.
I just thought that'd be a fun treat for you.
Yeah, the Eric July stuff has been wild because the update is that he's just continued to spiral downward and grasp at straws, which is what everybody warned him would happen and said would happen.
The 100 books this year thing, that meme, like think about how many new people there's going to be for me to make fun of.
Oh, it's going
to be like a retard renaissance.
Yeah, I mean and because it's all going to be digital, it's going to be easy for people to.
I don't have to scan them anymore. There was like a solid 2 years where I had to be responsible for destroying the sales personally. Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be wild to see it's like a content churn. He's going to have to create like a content churn of digital comics. And there's never been, in my understanding, a single digital comic platform that's ever made money. None of them have been.
Of course not. They're obviously like a definitional loss leader. Like, here's some of our product for free. Please want to buy the paper physical version.
It's basically an advertisement for the genuine thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He likes manga. So maybe he thinks that the manga sales have anything to do with Americans reading it digitally. They really don't.
Yeah.
Manga also like doesn't make much money, right? Like merchandising does.
Right.
And that's how the companies pay for the manga to get made.
Well, those books are exceedingly expensive to print. They're not actually that cheap to print. The margins on them are very, very small, if they are at all. Yeah. And then they make almost all of their money from basically everything else.
Anime licensing, the merchandising,
right,
and like tchotchkes and stuff. Yeah, that's where the money is.
Yeah, it's insane to me that again, I don't think a digital platform is necessarily out of the question. But the way you would do that is by segregating it and saying, here's the physical copy and then here's the digital copy. But that's not what he's doing. He's just saying, no, we're going to release 100 comics. And the way he's going to do that is by pumping them through a digital platform.
Yep.
It's like
his digital library of Rippaverse Associates, Ripasend Library or whatever. It's fucking dumb. I can't believe I called it on that first Eric July video I made. Good luck working in distribution, Eric. I said 1 book a year is not a new institution, Eric. Good luck working in distribution, Eric. And it's like, that's where he's at. So,
you know what? Maybe he was smart in the end to get a big warehouse, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be full of a bunch of fucking servers.
Yeah, dude. Fucking data mining.
Comic books. It's literally going to become a fucking AI
data service center.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a great place to end it. Where can people follow you at? You are, I know I've got your handle in the thumbnail and all that jazz, but.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at CG Scumlord. Follow me on YouTube at Clippaverse. I post appearances like this on the community wall. I go on a bunch of shows now.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been seeing you pop up on stuff, and I'm gonna get the panels going again. So that'll be the new thing. I'm gonna get.
I'll definitely swing by, man.
And we'll get. I'll drop chats and all the group chats and stuff like I was doing back in the day.
Cool.
I think those were fun. So
yeah, I'm trying to launch a bunch of podcasts for this year. Like doing one with CG King, Vasilis Lolis called Midnight on the Internet.
Yes.
I'm gonna launch a Power Ranger show with Kremkul, the infamous Kremkul. It's going to be a terrific time.
Talk to me when you do the Power Ranger one. I actually know a couple guys related to production stuff around Power Rangers that I can reach out to. And I know a guy who's credited on the internet for being like the biggest Power Ranger fan. He has like a massive collection of stuff and like is like.
We'll definitely need contacts to guests like that for our show. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leighton.
Have a great night. Peace.